All right, no video.
Yeah, we had, man. Um, oh man, these chips is spicy.
Uh-huh.
Hey
Yeah,
man, everybody,
video.
welcome to another
Video.
episode of the Flagrant 2 with Eggs and Lou. If you haven't done so already, please like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can be tuned into all of our newest episodes. My camera's going in and out, so I'm just gonna leave it off because I am not home. I am remote. But yeah, man, what's good?
Not much, man. More it's more basketball. At least another day of basketball. But it just sucks because we know that end of basketball is coming for the year. But yeah, everything's good. How's everything with you, man?
Life is life, my brother. Well, we here, man. We here, man. Before we get into Thunder and Pacers, game three is tonight.
Uh-huh.
Uh, the Knicks have unsuccessfully tried to poach three coaches.
Ooh, damn.
Udoka, Jason Kidd, and who's Minnesota's coach?
Minnesota.
Yeah,
Oh, what is his name? I don't know. I don't know his
I
name off
forget his
top. I
name.
know who
I
this
forget his
white
name.
dude.
Yeah.
I know his face. I heard about Chris Finch. Um, I heard about the. I know I heard about the Jason Kidd one, but in my mind, I'm kind of thinking like, was Jason? Isn't Jason Kidd? Didn't he leave though? Or is he
Um.
still? I swear he was. I thought that's at least what my mindset. At
No,
least that's
no.
my
Jason Kidd is
mindset
still
was.
there. He's still there.
Oh, okay. Well, at least my mindset was Jason Kidd was probably trying to get up out of here. Cause I ain't gonna lie, he better than me. Cause once you would trade a Luka without my consent or my acknowledgement, it would have kind of been a riff, a little riff. But yeah, the
Yeah, they
Knicks.
were saying Yeah, they were saying that the rumor was that Jason Kidd was the one that wanted Luca gone.
Mm, okay. Then yeah, Jake can stay. I'll blame him. Like I said, Luka, look at you, come on. You know certain types, man. Lucas just seems like a big baby type. He does what he wants. He's good, so he gets away with what he wants. And when you're that good, it's just like you're undeniable. That's what they say. Make yourself so good that you're undeniable, that people can't deny you. And that's what Luca does. He's so good, he's undeniable. But at the end of the day, attitudes and make it tough to work with you. And Jason Kidd has to run a team, and it's tough to run a team when you're dealing with certain stuff that's out of your control.
Now I
Like we
agree with
always
that.
we always talk about culture. You got to build the right culture.
Yeah, you got to build the right
It's
culture,
also it's
and if you
top to
have
bottom.
your star player doing whatever he wants, that's not culture.
No, that's crazy. The next, the next you looking for a head coach. Like it is what it is. At the end of the day, we know that they're looking for a head coach. You fired Tibbs without a backup plan, without a plan in order. Like a
Yeah,
name that you truly wanted. So it's just like this is what's gonna happen. You're gonna go ahead and try to get a coach, doing it in bad faith with going after Chris Finch, a guy who just literally brought the Timberwolves. He don't even seem like he's going. At least in my mind, I can sit here and say Jason Kidd could possibly left. So I'm like, I'm not even mad at them talking to Kid. But talking to the other, come on, bro. Come on, bro. There's a lot. There's a lot of coaches out there.
you know what's crazy is that this tells me two things.
What's
This
up?
tells me that because this isn't a Leon Rose West type of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like this tells me that there was no plan in place when they fired Tibbs.
None.
You fired Tibbs and you just hoping that shit just sit. You know, you got you're pooping and you just throwing it at a wall, hoping it sticks. At this point, it's like, what are we doing? There should have been a plan in place, because why would you fire him? First of all, why would you fire him this soon to the loss? Like, everybody's already grieving over losing in the ECF. You just go ahead and fire him, but 2, 3 days after it happens, nobody really has a chance to kind of process it. So, and then it's not like Indiana didn't deserve to be in the finals. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't know. This just screams we have no plan.
Yeah. Like I said, it could work out for the best. We never know because, like I always sit there and throw it to the Warriors. You got rid of Mark Jackson, and it turned out to be a move that you needed to do. Uh, and you stumbled
It
upon
only works if you could
her.
bring in a guy who's going to
Yeah.
push them to the next level.
So, and it's tough because it's just like at the end of the day, as fans of basketball, fans of the teams of the Knicks, y'all could say what y'all want about me. X is a hater of the Knicks. You know, that was my team for so long. Um, and it's been so dysfunctional. That's why I can't be in a dysfunctional relationship. I'm not made for it. Um, but it's like y'all was finally moving on the right track. And then it's like we said it from the beginning, like, yo, we're not gonna win it this year. Where we y'all got closer than we
Yeah.
even thought we would. And it's just
Hmm.
like, all right, let's see what we got going on from here. Can't fire the coach. What do you think you're a championship team? I don't know. You still got we seen what was wrong. We could have let Tibbs figure it out. At least get through some of the game and be like, damn, nah, this really ain't working. But now you already started over at the beginning of the year by getting Cat. You had to figure that out. Now you got to figure it out with a new coach again.
Yeah.
So now it pushes your timeline further back. You're like at least 6 months pushed back.
I
So
wouldn't I
hopefully you
wouldn't
make it good
necessarily
right.
say, yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say it pushes the timeline all the way
I
back, but I
mean,
do agree
I
that,
didn't say all the way back. I mean at least 6 months process back.
well, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
you
I agree
you
with
gotta
that,
sit here and
because
think like,
you gotta get a new
yeah,
coach,
you gotta get a new
get
coach, see
in the groove with
what's
a new playbook, and
all of
yeah,
that. And it's just like you gotta hope that it literally works this year. We could at least get back to where you was. You know what I mean? Next year where you could get back to where you was this year.
right.
Because now you're gonna sit there and go into next year and be like, damn, if we don't get to the Eastern Conference Final, it's a failure. Because we just did this last year. We supposed to be advancing every year.
I don't agree with that. I think that I think that not getting to the Eastern Conference Finals next year with a brand new coach would not be a failure. Uh, I think it would be a failure if Tibbs was still there. I think that making it to the playoffs, getting cohesion,
Look,
um,
look. You just got there and they fired the team who got fired the staff who got there. So guess what? The GMs is sitting here thinking, oh, if we don't get here, it's kind of a failure. Will they sit there and be like, all right, cool, we had a
well,
new coach, we'll
from
figure it
reports,
out?
it's not the GM.
Yes.
From
My,
reports, it's not the GM. It's Dolan that made the
my bad.
call. That
Apologies. Yeah, that
Right.
further,
So
whatever.
Rose
You know
didn't
what I
want to fire
mean?
Tibbs. Right. So
Oh, yeah.
from the reports, Rose didn't want to fire Tibbs. Dolan made the call to make the
Mhm.
change.
Yeah.
So
And that's just what
I'm
I meant. That's what I meant. I ain't mean like,
yeah,
yeah, you know what I meant.
yeah.
But what I'm saying is to him, that's obviously all right, cool, fantastic. Now he's feeling like, yo, we just need some new life in here. Hopefully, we can get there. So to him, if they don't get where they was, it's gonna be kind of a failure. Is he gonna sit here and be like, oh, let's fire him now because we got to figure out? No, because just like you said, it's gonna be like, yo, we got a new coach. It is what it is. Like, you gotta still figure this adjustment out. But at the end of the day, you're supposed to be advancing.
Yeah, I don't like the unknown. I don't like the fact that you do something without a clear plan, because running an organization, I mean, it's not like we come on this podcast and we're like, oh, what are we going to talk about? You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
We have a clear cut line of what we're going to do. You know, do things pop up during the podcast where we're like, okay, let's talk about this, or let's run this topic in there, and we'll just, throw it in to one of the banners and like, all right, well, we're gonna discuss it now. That's not how you run a professional sports organization. You don't just on the fly, like, all right, we're gonna do this, and nobody knows exactly what's going on but you. You know what I'm saying? That sort of stuff needs to develop and happen behind the scenes. And obviously we wasn't in the room during these conversations, but you're talking about one of the premier organizations in the National Basketball Association, one of the most expensive teams in all of sports,
Facts.
and one of the most cherished arenas where they call it the mecca of basketball. There has to be a clear cut plan. You don't just fire somebody and say, you know what, we're going to go try to poach these coaches from three other teams. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. I think that if there was more rumors or more discussions over, okay, well, we're looking at Van Gundy, we're looking at Mark Jackson, we're looking at guys that have been.
Yes. Like you said, we're not. It's not like they have in order guys who are fantastic at what they do. Like you said, Mark Jackson, he was still fantastic at what he did for the Warriors. And it's not like you were going from that and figuring out you're getting a curve. It's just the Knicks are in a place which throws you at a loop. Ah, and it's just like I said, the dysfunction. This is part of it. Dolan stepping in instead of letting their guys figure it out and doing what they got to do for the organization instead of getting your hands dirty. This is what you hire these people for, so they can make these executive decisions. Now you're making them make decisions abruptly without a plan, and it's tough. It's extremely tough. So I don't know what they're gonna do. You don't know what they're gonna do. We all just sideline figuring out what's the next move. The only thing you could do is speculate on our side, and the only thing the Knicks could do, the GMs and everybody who has to go out there and figure this stuff out, is do their best at getting somebody qualified, competent, who can run this team and not allow for them to have a crazy fall off. Because if you go ahead and turn around and not make the playoffs, this is this is New York, like you said. If you do not make the playoffs, it is a fail. And I'm not saying you're not going to make the playoffs, but what I'm saying is there's a probability that stuff like this can happen, and that's the last thing you really want.
I agree.
So you heard me?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Oh, okay, because your thing muted out, so I just kept
Yeah,
going.
it was. I don't know why I muted up, but I was talking, and then it's like, I don't
You
know.
just heard me talking and just shut up.
Yeah, yeah, just shut up.
I thought you broke up or something, so I just kept going. Like,
Nah, bro, I don't know. It was bad weird. I even realized it was muted, but nah, go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, uh, yeah. Like I said, they just put they. I think they put themselves in a tough position to go moving forward because now you got to figure it out on the fly. It's crazy.
Nah, I agree. I agree. It's a wild time to be a Knick fan right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's positives that you can look at and you can gather from, but this is a huge negative. Into you can't go into the off season and not and again, we're speculating. They could have a plan. This could all be nothing but misdirection. They could already have their guy in mind, but they're just doing their due diligence to kind of put out feelers out there and make it seem like they're doing a thorough search or a thorough path of what they the little misdirection thing, because I'm pretty sure there's other teams out there that's going to try to get Johnny Bryant too. And I really think that Johnny Bryant is the first and only choice that seems the most plausible to me.
Yeah,
Um Another name I would like to throw out there is dang, it was literally on my in my head. Um what is it? The old coach from Villanova. The one that they won the championship
solid,
with.
but yeah.
Something right. I forget
It's
his
like
first name.
Is it Jim Red or something like that?
Jay Wright.
I know how to JJ right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jay Wright. Yeah. So again, I'm hoping that there is a plan down the line. I'm hoping that they can figure this out, but it's really tough to have confidence in a team that has an owner that can be so volatile to make brash
hmm
decisions on a whim. You have to trust in the guys that you hire. You hired Leon Rose for a reason. Leon effectively got this team to where it is right now, put this team together. This team together got to the Eastern Conference Finals. You guys want to move on from your coach because you're not seeing the growth that you want to. That's fine. But there got to be a plan in place going forward, knowing that you have the nucleus that you want. It's all about putting the pieces around the nucleus to make that team cohesive.
yeah. We shall see. We shall see how the Knicks doing this
Facts.
off season. It's gonna be a crazy off season. We'll talk
Nah,
about
yeah,
that
I think it's gonna be a
more
great.
because
Oh man,
we got
once the finals is
Giannis
over,
music, we got
whew,
the KD
yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
We'll
we go
see how
talk. We
that
go
all
talk,
goes.
man. I can't wait because after the finals is over for our final episode, I wanna get into all of that, because I think there's gonna be some blockbuster trades this summer. I already know it.
Yeah,
But
yes.
yeah, man, let's talk about game three. Game three,
Oh, I
Pacers
put. We'll see how.
and Thunder.
Okay, put three. There we go.
Game three, man. Game three is tonight. The Thunder and the Pacers, they have evened it up. So going off of history, teams in the finals going into game three tied one apiece. The team that wins game three ultimately wins the finals 80% of the time, or it's like it's above 80. It's like 80 something percent of the time. But they
Good
go
for
ahead and win. Um Again, I don't like those numbers because we're talking about a new league. We're talking about young, fresh guys. These guys have never been in this position before.
mm,
So, well, there's only one player on the court that's won the finals. And that's
Ooh,
Siakam. Who else?
Caruso.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I never think about the bubble. But speaking about the bubble, um, so we're talking about ratings, and ultimately, we knew that this was going to be a topic coming into this finals because this is two small market teams, and I mean, let's be honest, being that they're small market teams, nobody really pays attention to these little guys. Unfortunately, despite the fact that they have really good players on their team. So the analytics and all that stuff came out. Basically, game two was the biggest drop off viewer wise from game one. Like they said, almost 8 million viewers less than game one for game two. And this was the fewest since the bubble and the fewest since going back to 2007.
Well, one thing about it, I'm gonna start with so much streaming platforms that you can watch illegally. I'm not admitting that I do it, but I'm not saying I don't because
Yeah.
you know I don't have cable. I have internet, Um, so we got that, and there's just so many other ways to consume this basketball. We don't even have to watch the game. We could watch the footnotes. We could watch it later because people break the game down further than we even could watch it. Like sometimes I watch
Hmm.
it to enjoy. Sometimes I watch the game to really watch, and then I catch the footnotes and the details, on some YouTube videos. I ain't even gonna lie. That's how I do it. And guess
Right.
what? None of those views account toward the NBA. And I'm one of the avid watchers. And then when we think about these two teams, if you like basketball, and then sure, you're gonna watch this. But if you watch the game for just the player, so if I'm just watching it for LeBron or if I'm watching for Steph Curry, guess what? Neither one of them is in here. So I'm not really watching it. I'll probably catch it to see the stats, be a box score viewer, and that's what they're gonna do. But are they really invested in this team? No. They're not really invested in either one of these teams. No matter since SGA is the MVP winner, nobody really cares. No disrespect, but nobody really cares. He's not Jokic, he's not LeBron, he's not Giannis. And it's just sad to say. But the league hasn't pushed these guys enough because they had to focus on the other guys who was inevitably falling out of the game. They're getting older. So it sucks. But like you said, it's a smaller market teams. None of these guys you really watch out of all these games. How many times have people really watched Indiana? Like, you know what I'm saying? They don't watch Indiana enough unless they play somebody big. Indiana probably peaked at their views with the Knicks series. Why? Because they was playing the Knicks. It's sad to say, but it's true. Go ahead.
I don't know, man. I think it's a combination of a lot of things too. I don't think it's necessarily um the viewership. I think it's more of the fact that now that people don't have access to cable or access to certain apps that house this. Like for instance,
Mhm.
um the Eastern Conference Finals was more watched than the Western Conference Finals. Why? Because more people had access to HBO Max, which houses TNT.
Hmm.
Not a lot of people have access to the ultra version of Disney Plus, which houses Hulu and ESPN, and all the games was on ABC, which is owned by Disney. Disney is not putting them on Disney Plus. You know what I'm saying? I think that had Disney put it on Disney Plus to watch for free for for their subscribers, the same way HBO Max had did for TNT, so, I think that
Yeah.
now we're looking at the NBA Finals in a different light. I could go home, put on Disney Plus, and watch the NBA Finals. Instead, I either have to have cable for ABC or I have to have the ESPN Plus app or the bundle for Disney. But even in that bundle, you can't watch every single ESPN game, which sucks. So when it comes to these sporting events, they need to figure out how can we get eyes onto our games in a maximum way. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I think that like what the NFL's doing, getting into partnership with YouTube and ultimately trying to or even with Amazon Prime, you have options where you can stream these televised games and watch them live.
Yeah.
Right now, there's not an avenue for that for their biggest stage, and that sucks. Even for the NFL, their biggest stage, not only could you watch it on TV, they had it on Fubo or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
The free,
Yeah.
yeah, they had it on a free
Yeah.
channel.
Yeah.
Everybody, if you had a Fire Stick,
But
you're watching the game for free.
that's a fact because I even watched it and I don't watch football. I just put it on because it's
Right.
football. All right, let me just put it on
Exactly.
and put it on. And that's the one thing too. Like I didn't want to interrupt, but it's just like you said, it's so like I was saying, and you were saying, there's so many avenues to watch the game. which is a problem because it's just like when it came to basketball, we used to just sit down, turn on the TV, hit one button, and go to the station
Hmm.
and watch the finals. Now
Right,
we got to figure out how to watch the finals. Oh, this is viewing it. Oh, do I even own that? I don't own it. I got to figure out a way to watch it. You know what
right.
I do? I don't figure out a way. I just go to Stream East. I ain't got to figure
Well,
out
yeah.
nothing. Hey, I don't got to
I
figure out
get you. I get
nothing.
you. But right, but
Like,
if but the league want if you want to retain your money, you want to be able to get all eyes and viewership on you and still
yeah,
be able to retain your money, you have to figure out an avenue where you can
mhm,
put it on a network. You have 7 games.
yeah,
There could be a bidding war for that. The finals, the Super Bowl, the World Series, these are the biggest games of the year
mhm.
for these teams.
That's
So if you
gonna be
want to get all
separated.
eyes, right, if you want to get all eyes on them, figure out a way where you can I think the NFL did the right thing. They figured it out. Now it's time for these other big sporting events to figure it out too. The finals, the World Series, they have to figure that out. And until
Facts.
they do, one, they're going to lose their so-called viewership, and two, they're going to lose revenue, especially when you have smaller market teams where if you don't have ABC, you're not watching it.
Nope. And that's really the tough part about it. Because, like I was saying, I'll just go to my site and guess what? We even had a video of LeBron. This is the biggest person in the league.
Hmm.
Guess how he was watching one of the games on the sideline? They caught a picture of it. He was watching it on streamies.
Is it?
And this is one of the richest people in the world.
Yep.
You don't think he can't afford Disney Plus or whatever they got it on? He can. But why would I sit? What I gotta sit around and figure out where it's gonna be on? No, I could just go ahead and just go to one website and figure it out. Like we got so many options where it's just like cable don't sound too bad anymore. You mean
Right.
one place I could just spend $70 to have damn near all these channels? But the problem is now everything's separated, so now it's useless. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's like, one place where you can watch everything don't sound too bad. So I don't know. We're gonna have to get it together at one point.
Yeah.
They're just making it tougher for the audience. Anyway,
Yeah, I agree.
we gonna talk about some of
Anyways,
the
game three.
games. No.
Here we go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, game two, it went exactly how game one should have went. And shout out to Indiana. They stole one. That's what you're supposed to do as the away
Exactly.
team and as the underdog. They stole one, but there was no stealing game two. Thunder made sure of it. I will continue to say this and I will continue to reap their praises. The Thunder is the best team in the league. They have been since the start of the
Mm-hmm.
season. They have been since the end of the season. They have been all playoffs long. They figure out their adjustments, they figure out what they need to do, and then they stomp on their competition. That's what you have to do. You're the big dog. You go into the park, pout your chest a little bit. Show that you the big dog. Bark a little bit louder. That's what you got to
Mm-hmm.
do. So, yeah, the Thunder is fine. I didn't have any doubts that they was gonna come in the game to handle business. I think that they're gonna come into game three tonight. They're gonna handle business. I think that if Indiana is going to win another game in this series, it's going to have to come on their court. I don't think it will come tonight. It may come what is it, game four
Yeah.
on Saturday or Sunday, whenever they play again. But yeah, yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I think Indiana is the team currently that is playing behind. They're the ones that have to play with more aggression, more efficiency. They have to play a better brand of basketball. And it starts off with their turnovers. Although they didn't have a lot of turnovers in game two, those turnovers that they did have resulted in what was it, 15 to 16 points.
Mm-hmm.
Something that the Thunder didn't do last game.
Yeah, exactly.
So Yeah, they're gonna have to tighten it up. They're gonna have to out execute the Thunder because you're not going to beat them defensively or offensively. You're going to have to beat them in the X's and O's.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I think like you said, this should be a comfortable 2-0 lead for the Thunder. Um when you go ahead and only put up 50 points and a half, you deserve to lose a game. The second game they went ahead and got 60 points. You know that 10 points difference makes a major change. And then the thing about it, they was getting contribution in game two to all the pieces that they needed. Chet had a good game. J Dub had a fantastic game.
Yep.
And it's just like you had your contributions from Caruso and Wiggins, like from the
Yep.
other players. So it's just
Hmm.
like we know what SGA is going to give us. We just need the rest of y'all to show up, and they showed up in that game too with urgency and came out to play. And then we just got to give a shout out to Lou Dort. Lou Dort has been making Tyrese Halliburton's life a living hell. We got to
Yes.
take a stack. Halliburton, he's only had a good quarter.
One
This
good quarter. The fourth quarter
one
of
good
game
quarter,
one.
and that was the fourth. Not even that was the fourth. He had a good quarter, the fourth quarter of game two. He had like 12 points, 12, 14 points in that quarter.
I mean,
Game
he had
one,
the same
the
amount in
only
game four in game one too,
game
and
one,
the game
he
winning
only
shot.
had a game winning shot. No, he ain't had no in the fourth quarter. That boy only had like 7
We're
points.
talking about like how because we've discussed this also how Halliburton doesn't just affect the game or with offense. He affects the game by getting other guys involved, and that's what
Yeah,
he did in game one.
yeah, I understand that. But what I'm saying is this is the NBA Finals. This isn't just about playing offense, like getting your team involved. This is where your superstar player has to come out
And
and
score.
show up and show out. Because at
Yeah,
some point, you got to figure out a way to get points, get buckets. And Halliburton, just it's just how they have to figure it out. It's just have him off ball a little bit more. You gotta understand. Game one in that fourth quarter, it was more Neesmith. Because at the end of the day, and it's just like I always break down to you, even when we play 2K, I always bring up 2K because we had a 1 to 3 point guard. First quarter to third quarter, he was controlling the offense. Fourth quarter, we gave Swag the ball and said, yo, go ahead and get us a bucket. We got to give them something different, something that they ain't used to. We know what you're going to do in the fourth. If that's what they need in that offense. And Neesmith went ahead game one and showed them, yo, I can at least keep up with them. He had a fantastic game. Guess what? The next game, it was Halliburton who went ahead and did that. And it's like, all right, cool. But it's just like the OKC actually showed up and said, you know what? We're the best team in the league. So it's just like I said, you need a guy who could be the efficient scorer when you need it the most. That's why I like Kawhi Leonard is one of the most fed guys because you know when you need a bucket, you give him the ball. He's an efficient wing who could score, and that's what you need. Siakam has to be more of that if they're gonna win.
right. I don't. Siakam was brought in to be the number one guy, scoring wise.
Yeah.
We've never considered Halliburton as a pure scorer. He's a pure point guard. He's a pure one. But the thing is, throughout a series and throughout the needs of who is your opponent, you have to be able to evolve. You have to be able to give your
Mm-hmm.
team exactly what they need. Perfect example, Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd, we all know, is one of the greatest passers in NBA history. If he's not one, he's in the top five,
Yeah.
top three, you know? So I liken Halliburton to Jason Kidd. Why? Because they're both can see the floor extremely well. They're floor generals, and their primary job is to get their guys involved.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? Kidd turned it up to another level in the playoffs. He didn't just get his guys involved. He evolved his game, started hitting threes, started hitting mid ranges, worked a little floater game. Let's get
Mm-hmm.
some ISO. Oh, double team coming. I have the vision to see who exactly I need to get the ball to. That's what Jason Kidd started to do throughout his career. When he got to the Knicks, I mean, he was like fifth that year in 3-point percentage
Mm-hmm.
because you're not gonna just back up off me. You're gonna respect my shot. And
Yep.
not only that, the reason why you backing off me is because you're afraid that I'm going to see who is on the court that I need to get the ball to.
Yeah.
Okay, back up. Now I'm gonna take the shot. Now I'm gonna make you pick and choose what you are going to do, and how you move is how I'm going to hit my counter. You back up, I'm gonna hit the three. You face guard, I'm gonna get the matchup I want. We gonna start doing some pick and rolls. We gonna start working with Miles Turner. We gonna start working with Siakam. We gonna start getting some threes open because I see a rotation coming from the corner, and Neesmith is right there wide open. This is what Hallie has to do. And it can't be 1 through 3 quarters. Can't just show up in the fourth quarter, because if you show up in the fourth quarter and you didn't show up the first 3 quarters, that's because your team is down.
Mm-hmm. He's fighting bad.
You got to show up all 4 quarters. It's a 48-minute game. Go out there, perform at your highest peak, and you could get your guys involved. You could play your
Yeah.
brand of offense, but you got to figure out how to get your offense going early too.
Mm-hmm.
So my suggestion would be he needs to start hunting his shot early, so later in the game he has his guys open and ready for a better opportunity down
Yeah.
the
Down the
game.
stretch. But yeah, that's honestly where it has to be, bro. It's just like Halliburton, you're the engine of this team. That well, with 2K's 1 to 3, but you gotta be at least starting at by the start of the fourth quarter, have your stuff going, because you can't figure it out at the end.
Right.
Because when you're figuring it out at the end, you're not leaving leeway for a guy like Siakam, who should be the guy who's figuring it out at the end, who's getting those matchups that he wants and taking advantage of the smaller guys on the team.
Agreed.
Like, come on. And then Siakam, oh, we got to talk about it because, like you said, Siakam is supposed to be the Scott, that guy.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah, he won the
Siakam letting us down?
Eastern Conference Finals MVP.
And Siakam letting us down right now because he had like 15 in the last game and like 19 in the first game. Like I'm not the best at math, bro, but that's like 17 points a game.
Yeah,
What is 17 points gonna do for you
not a damn thing.
from a guy that you have that should be the guy who's getting the transition, getting some easy buckets, and then also you got to be able to make some tough buckets because this defense is relentless. So it's just straight up. It's like what we talked about. The OKC is literally the better team. And yes, we are sitting here saying these guys are letting things down. These guys are letting things down. But at the end of the day, OKC is playing so above and beyond that it's just like, really, what can these guys truly do? Because they're swarming these guys. We got Halliburton with 5 turnovers last game. He had 7 turnovers in the first game. This is a guy who averages like 2 turnovers a game, and he's doubling in each game and tripling in the first, doubling in the second game. Like, come on. It's a real tough thing and it's an adjustment. But let's get, like I said earlier, giving a shout out to Lou Dort. He's fighting through these screens. He refuses to get screened. He's on Halliburton all game. He's so strong. It's just like even if you bump into him, it's just like you might as well not even bump into him because you're gonna hurt yourself. You're gonna hurt yourself. And I know Halliburton's feeling it. Pause. And it's just like you said, this is a tough team because now after Blue Dort, you got Caruso coming in who gives you great minutes on defense. You got Case and Wallace. Yeah, I said it right. Case and Wallace, yeah. You got Andrew Wiggins who came in and gave you 18 points. Like, bruh. It's just tough. It's just a tough series. Like I said, OKC in 5. Tonight I expect nothing less. I think OKC is gonna come in. The build is gonna be crazy. Indiana's gonna have a crazy vibe, but I think OKC is always unfazed. They're never playing too out of character where the emotions are out of whack. Like you got a guy like a vet like Caruso who keeps everybody calm. Shea never really gets out of pocket. It's just like he's a foreigner. He's Canadian. You know they're too nice to get mad or something. I don't know. The only person who changes that thing is Dylan Brooks. Dylan Brooks be why are you so bad? You're Canadian, brother. So it's just like they're gonna stay humbled, stay in character, and I think they're gonna pull this game out for it. Any
Right.
difference from you for tonight, man?
Nah, I agree. I agree with everything you just said.
Yeah, see, everybody's agreed, Dylan. Why are you so mad? No, like I said, he agrees. Yeah, we're gonna let you get back to what you're doing, man. But y'all already know the vibes, man. Like, share,
Wait,
sub,
Sean, one
audio.
more.
What? Huh? What?
No, yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good. I'm sorry. Get us out of
Man,
here.
there we go. I already know the vibes. Like, shit, summer, all the above. Your boys is signing out, man. And we got more than one more coming for y'all. All right, we're gonna be here. But yeah, y'all holla at y'all, man.
Yeah, I'm back, straight facts, in my bag, straight facts, came to bring the hits, nigga, straight facts, tryna hit the falls list, nigga, straight, yeah, I'm back, straight facts, in my bag, straight facts, came to bring the hits, nigga, straight